So now we're going to have a look at task 2 of this web page design unit. Going to continue working on our file new mems htm, and it says here that we need to format all the text to be center aligned. So if you remember, in the original document that the exam board passed to us, they made use of this align equals center command within the paragraph tag to center their text. So I'm just going to show you how it works. First of all, I'm just going to copy out from that document, and I'm going to pop that into my top line there, which makes the title. So now if I save that and go across and refresh, you'll see that that's put the that top line as center aligned. However, that's not the only way to achieve center alignment in an HTML document. And rather than going through and put that for every single paragraph in our text, I'm going to show you a different way to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a style section in just above the body section. So as ever, we need to open and close the tags. So here we're making use of something called cascading style sheets. Now you may have done some CSS before, but if not, you'll find it's quite straightforward. So we tell it what kind of tag we want to work on. So we're going to work on all of the P tags. Then we need to open the curly brackets. If we open brackets like that, we need to make sure we close them as well. So I'm going to put that in first of all. And then we need the text align to be centered. So I put in text align and a colon and then the word center, and I finish the line with a semicolon. Now I'm going to save that and go across and refresh my browser. And now, as you can see, all of the different lines of text are centered in my web page, and I've only had to write that into my document in one place. Now, we need to look at some more formatting now. It's telling us that the heading text should be Arial font in size 6 or 24 point, and the rest of the text from the Progress Leisure Centre, Progress Leisure Fishery Club, down to homepage needs to be also Arial and in 14 points, and then the very last line is going to be Arial again, but 10 points. So, as before, we could do it the way that the author of the original document did and put in a font face command on each paragraph tag, but we're still trying to save ourselves a little bit of typing, so we're going to use the CSS method once again. So I'm going to add in another specification for our paragraphs, and this time it's going to be font family Arial, and I'm going to also control the font size there. Now, the majority of the document is going to be 14 point, so I'm going to put that in there, 14 point, and put a semicolon at the end of the line. So now when I save that and I go across and update my document, everything is now in Arial and it's in 14 point. So we need to just make sure that the headline is in a larger size. So what we're going to do is we're going to just alter the very first tag to be an H1 tag, because this is actually going to be the headline of our web page. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add H1 into my style sheet so that those formatting that we've already created, the centering, the font style and Arial, automatically get applied to H1 tags as well. But we do want the H1 to be larger, so I'm just going to add in another line here, and this will actually override the size that we've already put in and just apply it to the H1 tag. So I've saved that. I'm going to go across and refresh. And as you can see, now the headline is in 24 points. Everything else is still Arial 14. However, the very last line here needs to be in size 10. So what we're going to do there is we're going to give this particular paragraph tag an ID. We're going to call it author. Then we're going to go back up into our style sheet area, and we're going to use the hash key to create a ID selector. Type in author, and using our curly braces once again, and remembering to close the brackets. And now when we go over and refresh, you'll see that the last line there has reduced down to size 10 point because we've selected any tags with the ID author to be in 10 point. Now we need to add a little bit of emphasis to a couple of bits. Remember, it's free to join needs to be in bold, and Progress Leisure Fishing Club needs to be in italics. So let's just go over to our web page. Remember, it's free to join needs to be in bold. So the easiest way to do that is just use the bold tag. And of course, as ever, we need to remember to close the bold tag. And similarly, we're going to use the italics tag on Progress Leisure Fishing Club. Now I'm going to save that, go over and refresh it, and hopefully you can see that Remember It's Free to Join is now in bold and Progress Leisure Fishing Club is in italics. Now we need to enter the image, new JPEG, under the heading. So let's go back over to our documents. Just under the heading there, we're going to use the image tag. So image is the IMG is the image tag. Source tells us, SRC source tells us which picture we're going to use, and as long as it's in the same directory, the same folder on Windows, the website should be able to find that and pick it up. So as you can see, Fishing Club image is now inserted. However, it did tell us that we need to make sure that's centered. Well, the easiest way to make sure that it's centered is to put it within a paragraph, because we've already specified in our style sheet that anything that's a paragraph should be center aligned. So I put a paragraph tag around my image tag, refresh the page, and as you can see, that is now centered. However, that's not the only way of doing centering on a web page, and I'm going to show you an alternative way to do that. So this time, I'm going to create a new tag just within my IMG tag, and I'm going to give this a class. and it's going to be centered. And now I can go up into my star sheet, and this time I'm going to use the dot selector, which selects classes. I'm going to write in centered, and I'll open and close my brackets. Now, just to show you that I'm not cheating, if I go back and refresh my page, because I've removed that paragraph tag, this image is now shot back over to the left. But if I change the display parameter to block, and if I set the margin to auto, missed a space out there, then as you can see, the page is now displaying the image centered. So that's just using the CSS method of centering an image. So on the next page of the task sheet, it says that the design should look something similar to that. And as you can see, it's looking okay. Actually, as you can see here on the original, the author has put the word center in just in front of the center number. So let's just get that sorted out. Sorry, wrong folder. So I'm going to open up new mems in Notepad and just enter the word center there. So now that's looking a little bit more like the diagram in the exam paper. And that actually brings us to the end of task 2.